I walked through the front door with her birthday gift tucked under my arm. Today was supposed to be special, surprising Amanda early before our dinner reservation. The apartment felt different somehow. Our bedroom door was closed, but I heard laughter. Her laughter, followed by a deeper voice. A voice I had known my entire life. My stomach dropped as I pushed the door open. There was my father naked on our bed with the woman I was supposed to marry in 2 months. Before I continue this story about how a single moment destroyed my family, let me know where you are watching from and hit that subscribe button to hear more raw, unfiltered stories about life's darkest betrayals. The image burned into my retinas like acid. My father scrambled to cover himself while Amanda clutched the sheets to her chest, her eyes wide with shock and something else: guilt. I stood frozen in the doorway, the birthday gift, a silver bracelet engraved with our initials, slipping from my fingers and clattering to the hardwood floor. I am Jack, 28 years old, a structural engineer from Boston. Amanda and I had been together for 3 years, our wedding scheduled for early summer. We had already bought this apartment together, hence why I had the key. The deposit came from my savings while she picked out every piece of furniture. This place was supposed to be our future. My father, Richard, was a successful attorney at one of Boston's prestigious firms. He had always been my role model. Hardworking. Respected, the perfect family man. At least that was the image he projected. My mother, Elizabeth, was a retired school teacher who devoted her life to our family. They had been married for 35 years. The relationship between my father and me had always been strong. He taught me how to throw a baseball, helped me with college applications, and gave me career advice. When I introduced him to Amanda 2 years ago, he seemed genuinely happy for me. He even offered to help pay for our wedding. What a joke that seems like now. Son, this is not what it looks like. My father stammered, reaching for his pants, draped over my reading chair. I could not move. I could not speak. My eyes darted around the room, registering details that only intensified my pain. His Rolex watch on my nightstand. The expensive bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon I had given Amanda on our anniversary, now empty on the floor. Our bed sheets, the Egyptian cotton ones my mother had gifted us, tangled around their bodies. Jack, please. Amanda sobbed, mascara streaming down her face. I love you. This was a mistake. A terrible mistake. That word, mistake, snapped something inside me. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill or burning dinner. This was a deliberate betrayal by the 2 people I trusted most. A mistake, I heard myself say, my voice unnervingly calm, like accidentally falling on my father's dick in our bed. My father stood now, pants half on. Jack, you need to calm down. We can talk about this like adults. That condescending tone, the same one he used in the courtroom. Something primal took over. I lunged across the room, and my fist connected with his jaw, sending him stumbling backward into the dresser. Picture frames crashed to the floor. Photos of Amanda and me in happier times shattered under his feet. He touched his split lip, looking at the blood on his fingers with disbelief. Have you lost your mind? I will have you arrested for assault. Go ahead, I growled, advancing on him again. Tell the police how I found you screwing my fiancé. Amanda was screaming, now begging me to stop, as I grabbed my father by his expensive dress shirt and slammed him against the wall. Photos from our engagement shoot rained down around us. The irony was not lost on me. He fought back, catching me with an elbow to the ribs that knocked the wind out of me. For a man in his 60s, he was surprisingly strong. We grappled, knocking over the bedside lamp and sending books flying from shelves. I gave you everything, I shouted, landing another punch that sent him sprawling across the bed. My trust, my respect. And this is how you repay me, Amanda tried to get between us, her face streaked with tears. Please, stop, the neighbors will call the police. I shoved her aside harder than I intended. She fell back onto the bed, clutching the sheet to her naked body. The diamond engagement ring on her finger caught the light. 3 carats, custom designed, financed with an 18-month payment plan. I yanked it off her finger and threw it across the room. You 2 deserve each other. My father was on his feet again, blood streaming from his nose, one eye already swelling shut. You have always been too emotional, too unstable. This is why Amanda came to me. You could never satisfy her needs. Something inside me snapped. I tackled him to the floor, my fists raining down on him as years of built-up respect and admiration transformed into pure rage. I barely registered the pounding on the apartment door, the voices of neighbors in the hallway. When I finally stood up, my knuckles were bloody and swollen. My father lay on the floor, groaning, his face unrecognizable. Amanda was huddled in the corner, sobbing hysterically on the phone. Calling an ambulance, I realized. I staggered back, suddenly aware of what I had done. My own father. Despite everything, the sight of him bloody and beaten made me sick. If either of you ever contact me again, I will make sure everyone knows exactly what happened here today, I said, my voice hoarse. I grabbed my wallet and keys, pushing past the concerned neighbors gathered in the hallway. My shirt was torn and spattered with blood, both his and mine. As I stumbled to my car, the reality of what had just happened began to sink in. My future wife and my father, together, in our bed. The drive to my mother's house in the suburbs was a blur. Rain had started to fall, matching my mood, as I rehearsed what to say. How do you tell your mother that her husband of 35 years was sleeping with your fiancé, that you had beaten him bloody in a rage? I parked haphazardly in my mother's driveway, rain soaking through my clothes as I staggered to the front door. When she opened it, her expression shifted from surprise to horror. Jack. Oh my God, what happened to you? She pulled me inside, her hands fluttering over my injuries like frightened birds. My mother led me to the kitchen, her safe space since I was a child. The familiar smell of cinnamon and vanilla she had been baking made me want to vomit. How quickly comfort turns to nausea when your world implodes. You are bleeding, let me clean you up. She grabbed the first aid kit from under the sink, the same one she used for my childhood scrapes and cuts. Who did this to you, Dad? I said, simply watching her face freeze in disbelief. What are you talking about? Your father would never. I caught him with Amanda. In our bed. The words felt like glass in my throat. She stepped back, shaking her head. No, that cannot be right. There must be a misunderstanding. Mom, I saw them with my own eyes. She guided me to a chair, her movements mechanical, as she began cleaning the cut above my eye. Her hands trembled slightly, but her expression remained carefully neutral. This was the woman who had taught first grade for 30 years, master of hiding her emotions when necessary. What exactly did you see? She asked, her voice clinical. I told her everything, sparing no details. With each word, I expected her face to crumble, for tears to come, for her to collapse under the weight of this betrayal. Instead, she grew more distant, her movements more precise, her questions more pointed. Her phone rang, interrupting my story. She glanced at the screen, then back at me. It is your father. Do not answer it. She hesitated, then picked up. Richard. Are you all right? Jack is here. And he is saying some terrible things. I could hear his voice through the speaker, frantic and slurred. Likely from pain or medication. My mother's expression changed as she listened, her eyes darting to me with increasing suspicion. He says you attacked him without provocation, she said, covering the mouthpiece. That you were drunk and flew into a jealous rage when you found him helping Amanda plan a surprise for you. I laughed bitterly. Helping her plan a surprise, is that what they call it now? He says, you have been struggling with anger issues, that you have been drinking too much. And you believe him. After 35 years of marriage, you think I would beat my own father for no reason. She hung up the phone, setting it down carefully on the counter. The hospital says his nose is broken. He might need reconstructive surgery on his cheekbone. Good. Her hand struck my face before I even saw it coming. The slap echoed in the kitchen, shocking us both. How dare you say such a thing? Your own father is in the emergency room. I touched my cheek, stunned less by the blow than by the realization that she was choosing to believe him over me. Mom, why would I make this up? You have always been jealous of your father's success, she said, her voice cold. Ever since you were passed over for that promotion last year, you have been different. Angry. Drinking more. What does that have to do with anything? I saw them together, Richard says. Amanda came to him because she was worried about you. About your temper. He was counseling her. I stood up, knocking over the chair. Counseling her with his pants off. In our bed, you need help, Jack. Professional help. I think the wedding stress and your drinking, stop it. Stop defending him. For once in your life, see him for what he really is. My mother drew herself up, her voice turning to ice. And what is that? A successful man who has provided for this family for decades, who put you through college, who has never given me any reason to doubt him until now, until I caught him screwing the woman I love. Get out. Her words were quiet but firm. What, get out of my house? I will not listen to you destroy our family with these vicious lies. I stared at her, this woman who had bandaged my wounds and dried my tears throughout childhood, who had always been my safe harbor. Now she looked at me like I was a stranger. Worse, an enemy. He has you completely fooled. Does not he? The perfect husband. The perfect father. It is all an act, Mom. Leave Jack. Before you say something else, you will regret. I looked around the kitchen at the family photos lining the walls. Family vacations, graduations, holidays, moments captured in time when I believed in the illusion of our perfect family. The framed needlepoint that read "Home is where Mom is," that I had given her for Mother's Day in 3rd grade. The collection of ceramic owls we brought back from every trip symbolizing wisdom and protection. All lies. When he finally shows you who he really is, I said, heading for the door, do not come looking for me. I walked out into the rain, each drop feeling like acid on my skin. Behind me, 30 years of family history. Ahead, nothing but uncertainty. That night, I slept in my car outside a highway, rest stop blood still crusted in my hair, my phone buzzing with messages from Amanda that I refused to read. In the morning, I blocked their numbers. My father, my mother, Amanda. As far as I was concerned, I no longer had a family. I sent a formal email to my father's law firm, copying his partners, stating that he was to make no attempt to contact me, and that any communication should go through my attorney. I booked a room at an extended stay hotel and began looking for apartments in different cities. Within a week, I had resigned from my job, citing personal reasons, and accepted a position at a smaller firm in Portland. I left everything behind. My friends, my community, my history. Some might call it running away. I called it survival. The Portland rain was different from Boston's, more persistent, gentler somehow, like it had settled in for the long haul. I had been here 3 months, and the gray skies matched my mood perfectly. My new apartment was sparsely furnished, just the essentials. No photos, no mementos. I had left all that behind. My new colleagues were friendly, but respectful of my boundaries. I did my work well, but declined happy hours and weekend invitations. Except for Steve, the project manager, who shared my office. He had a quiet, steady presence that did not demand anything from me. He invited me fishing one weekend, and when I reluctantly agreed, he spent 6 hours not asking me a single personal question. Just 2 men, a cooler of beer, and the occasional comment about the weather or sports. It was exactly what I needed. The missed calls from my mother had become less frequent. I had not answered any of them. Amanda's texts had stopped entirely after I sent a cease and desist letter through my attorney. Last I heard, she had moved out of our apartment, leaving behind most of the furniture we had picked out together. Dr. Morgan, my therapist, said I was making progress. I had started seeing her at Steve's gentle suggestion. Everyone needs someone to talk to, he had said, sliding her business card across our shared desk. Even tough guys like us. She was helping me develop coping mechanisms for the rage that still occasionally overwhelmed me. Running until my lungs burned. Boxing at a local gym. Writing letters I never sent. Slowly, I was rebuilding myself from the ground up. Then my mother showed up at my office. I was reviewing blueprints when my assistant knocked on the door. There is a woman here to see you. She says she is your mother. I almost told him to send her away. But something, curiosity perhaps, or some remnant of filial obligation, made me nod. She looked older, thinner. The confident woman who had slapped me and thrown me out of her house was gone, replaced by someone who seemed to have aged 10 years in 3 months. Jack, she said, her voice breaking on my name. I did not stand to embrace her. Did not offer her a seat. How did you find me? Your old boss. He felt sorry for me. She clutched her purse like a lifeline. Can we talk, please, somewhere private? We ended up at a coffee shop 2 blocks away. Rain streamed down the windows, blurring the outside world. You look well, she said, though her eyes said otherwise. What do you want, Mom? She wrapped her hands around her mug, warming them. Amanda is pregnant. The words hit me like a physical blow. Congratulations to her and Dad. Jack, is that why you are here? To tell me they are starting a family. She flinched. I left him. Filed for divorce last month. That stopped me. My mother, the woman who had built her entire identity around being Richard Hamilton's loyal wife, had left him. Why now? What changed? Everything you said was true. Her voice was barely audible. After you left, things did not add up. His stories kept changing. Then Amanda started calling the house hysterical. I felt sick. I do not want to hear this. You need to. You deserve to know you were right. She took a deep breath. This was not his first affair. There have been others over the years. I just never wanted to see it. So you chose to believe I assaulted him for no reason. Your own son. I was scared, Jack. It was easier to believe you were wrong than to accept that my entire marriage was a lie. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I know that is no excuse. No, it is not. When Amanda found out she was pregnant, she called me, hoping to reach you. She confessed everything. How it started 6 months ago when you were working late nights on that bridge project. How your father pursued her, made her feel special, used his position as your father to gain her trust. Stop. My hands were shaking. 6 months, half our engagement. While I was working overtime to save for our wedding. I know this hurts, but I needed you to know I finally saw the truth. And I am so sorry I did not believe you. I looked at this broken woman across from me. My mother, who had taught me how to read, who had cheered at every baseball game, who had cried at my college graduation, who had also failed me when I needed her most. I need time, I said finally. I cannot just forgive and forget. She nodded, wiping her tears. I understand. I needed to see you. To tell you I know now. Where are you staying? I asked, surprising myself with the question. At the Marriott downtown. Just for a few days. I nodded, not making any promises. Take care of yourself, Mom. As she left, I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, not yet. But perhaps the beginning of understanding. Over the next weeks, I decided to take control of the narrative. I contacted my attorney and arranged a meeting. My father, Amanda, my mother and me, with our respective legal representation present. The conference room at my lawyer's office was coldly professional, the long tables separating us like opposing armies on a battlefield. My father looked smaller somehow, his confident swagger replaced by a defensive hunch. Amanda could not meet my eyes, her hand resting protectively over her slightly rounded stomach. My mother sat apart from them both, her back straight, her eyes clear. Thank you all for coming, my attorney began. My client wishes to resolve this situation without public litigation, which would benefit none of you. My father's lawyer leaned forward. My client is prepared to offer a generous settlement for the unfortunate physical altercation provided all parties sign non-disclosure agreements. I laughed. I am not here for money. Then what do you want? My father asked, his first direct words to me since that day. Justice. Accountability. For once in your life to admit what you did without spinning lawyer bullshit. Watch your language, son. I am not your son anymore. I opened a folder and slid copies of documents across the table. Text messages between you and Amanda. Going back 8 months. Phone records. Hotel receipts. My father paled as he flipped through the pages. Amanda began to cry silently. How did you get these? He demanded. I did not spend all those father-son fishing trips, not listening to your stories about gathering evidence, I replied. And Amanda was never very good with passwords. I turned to Amanda. Was it worth it? Trading our future for whatever he promised you? She shook her head, mascara running down her face. Just like that day in our bedroom. He said he would leave Elizabeth, that he loved me, that we would raise the baby together. My mother made a small, pained sound. And you, I turned to my father. What was your plan when I found out my fiancé was having my brother, my sister? It is not like that, he stammered. I made a mistake. A mistake is something you do once. This was a calculated betrayal. You were screwing my fiancé for 8 months while helping me plan my wedding, while giving me relationship advice, while borrowing money from me when you were short on cash, money that probably paid for your hotel rooms with her. His law partner sitting beside him looked disgusted. This was a side of Richard Hamilton he had never seen before. "What do you want from us?" Amanda asked quietly. "Nothing. I do not want your money, your apologies, or your explanations. What I want is for both of you to know that you did not break me." I stood up. "Mom, I will meet you outside." As I walked out, I heard my father's voice smaller than I had ever heard it. "Jack, please." I did not look back. My mother was waiting in the lobby, her eyes red but dry. "Are you all right getting there?" I said honestly. We walked outside together into the rare Portland sunshine. 6 months later, I stood on the balcony of my new house, watching the sunset over the Willamette River. The small 2-bedroom I had purchased was nothing fancy, but it was mine free from memories or ghosts. My phone buzzed with a text from Steve confirming our hiking plans for the weekend. Below it was a message from Dr. Morgan congratulating me on our final therapy session the day before. "You have done the work," she had told me. "You have processed your anger in healthy ways. You have rebuilt boundaries. You have learned to trust again, selectively, wisely." My mother had moved to Portland permanently, renting an apartment across town. After selling the family home, she had enough to start over. We had dinner once a week now, sometimes comfortable, sometimes still strained, but healing. I had heard through mutual friends that Amanda had given birth to a boy. The DNA test confirmed what everyone already suspected. My father was the biological parent. They were not together. He had returned to Boston after his law firm asked him to resign quietly to avoid scandal. Last I heard, he was trying to rebuild his practice in a smaller city where his reputation had not preceded him. I thought I would feel satisfaction at his downfall, but mostly I felt nothing. He had become irrelevant to my story. Kelly, the environmental engineer from the office next door, had stopped by earlier with homemade cookies and an invitation to dinner. Not a date, she insisted, just colleagues getting to know each other better. But the way she smiled suggested possibilities I was finally ready to consider. The wounds were still there. They always would be, but they no longer defined me. The betrayal had stripped away everything I thought I knew about family love and trust. In its place, I had built something stronger, a life on my own terms. I had learned that blood does not guarantee loyalty. That sometimes the family you choose is more reliable than the one you are born into. That healing is not a straight line, but a messy, complicated journey of good days and bad. Most importantly, I learned that surviving betrayal is not about forgetting the past. It is about refusing to let it dictate your future. Looking out at the sunset, I felt at peace for the first time in nearly 2 years. Not because everything was perfect, but because I had finally accepted that it never would be, and that was okay. Have you ever experienced a betrayal that forced you to completely rebuild your life? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories about overcoming life's toughest challenges. Your support means everything as we navigate these difficult journeys together. Remember, sometimes the hardest chapters in your life lead to the most beautiful rewrites. Thank you for listening, and may you find the strength to write your own ending.